Welcome to the Artist Academy podcast, a place where we focus on the business side of art to help you attract more customers, increase profits, to ultimately live a life of creativity and financial freedom. I'm your host, Andrea Earhart. And this week, I'm going to be explaining to you all the numbers behind what I actually made and how I made it during our 100-day challenge. So if you don't know, this past 100 days, so from January 1st to I believe it was April 10th, those first 100 days of the year, I took on a 100-day challenge to try to make $100,000 in 100 days. I got this from some other podcaster that said it. And I remember when she said it, I was like, ooh, that sounds fun, but a little unrealistic. And I wonder, that sounds like a good idea. And I took on this challenge because, again, it's a little unrealistic, but I feel like if I set a goal that's a little bit higher than what I think I can do, I think it just helps to stretch myself and to reach a little bit further and get a little more creative and work just a little bit harder. I say work harder, but like, mind you, I don't work more than 35 hours a week because I have a toddler and he requires a lot of my attention, and I frankly want to give him a lot of my attention. So 35, maybe 40 hours a week is my absolute tops that I'm working. So this challenge for me was really not about putting in more hours to make a goal happen or like exhausting myself. Although at times I did feel a little stretched. It's more about, okay, how can I really utilize my time while I have it to get the bigger customers, price things appropriately, not buckle when somebody wants things for half price and be like, okay, like it's just like, okay, no, I have this overarching goal. What can I do to make it happen? I'm going to share with you what I made last year during the first 100 days. I did not do the 100-day challenge, the first 100 days of 2024, right? This is the first year I've done it, 2025. So last year, since I use QuickBooks, it's all online. I can just literally go on my QuickBooks account and go in there and see exactly how much I made per month, per quarter, whatever, at any time of year for the last 3 years that I've been doing it. So after I added up what I made this year, I was like, I wonder how that compares to last year, because I typically take the first semester or the first quarter of the year to kind of chill out. There's not a whole lot going on here in Missouri. It's cold. We get snow. It's really cozy to start a fire and cuddle up on the couch and just like dream of things, sketch, paint on canvas, like do things that I don't do during the busy season. But this year I was like, no, okay, I'm going to like treat this like it is the busy season. And I'm just going to put it out there that I want something big. And anyway, so last year I made just under $40,000 in the first 100 days of the year. And that's with, I'm working, but I'm not hustling. I'm not like getting creative with it. I'm like, that's just a normal, I'd say pretty low. Last year was just a really weird first quarter for me with social things and friends, and just, it was not a really fun time. And so usually when I have a bad experience, so last year was like the first quarter of the year, or sometimes like I'll have a really weird like holiday, like if we have a really weird 4th of July that didn't go right, or if we had this, and like the next year I'm like, okay, it's going to be great this year and it's going to wipe out the previous year. Like that's how my mind kind of works sometimes. I'm like, let's do a redo. I remember I dated a guy for like a whole year one time, and like every holiday we argued just so much. And so the next year I was like, okay, I'm not dating that guy anymore. I'm going to have a great time on every holiday, and it's like going to be a redo. So that's kind of how I approached the first quarter of the year. And hence the 100-day challenge. I was like, okay, how can I make this so great? And like, I was just determined to turn things around. So I was very protective of my peace the last 100 days. just in who I hung out with, the things that I did. I haven't drank hardly at all. And even when I did, it was like, okay, I have a 1 drink rule, basically no hangovers. I was like fiercely protective of my energy and everybody around it that affected it. And it's just, so needless to say, I'm pretty proud of what I did in the last 100 days because I worked really hard at it, not just in the working aspect, but everything outside of it. I've tried to get a lot of sleep. I have done like taking like certain supplements that have helped with energy and just like, I am patting myself on the back because I feel like I did a really good job. So with that said, I want to I want to tell you what it is, but I want to make you guess at the same time, but that would be weird because we're not in the same spot. But okay. Dun, dun, dun. I made $84,000 in the last 100 days. So the first 100 days of the year, I went up from making just under 40 the previous year to 84,000. So over doubling what I made the previous year. And mind you, the previous years, all years, I was saying to myself, this isn't really a busy time of year. You know, people aren't asking for things. Like summer is the busy season. And I was like, wait. What if I change that? I put my luck into my own hands. I put it out there that this is what I want. Like this, everything works together. And if you believe in the woo-woo stuff of like the universe, you put it out there, you get what you ask for kind of a thing. That's what happened. Like a mix of effort. I think a little bit of mix of woo-woo stuff, just a mix of like having the energy to do this. I am so proud of this. I didn't hit the 100, but, and this is a really big but, I made the goal of, I really want to make $300,000 this year in my art business. And so I broke that up to be like, okay, so if I count up the first 4 months of the year, so at the end of April, so taking my 84,000 that I've made towards by April 10th, basically, I know from what I have on the books right now on my schedule that I will hit $100,000 by the end of April, which makes me on par exactly to make 300,000 this year if I keep up this momentum and keep going. So the first 4 months of the year, I will have made $100,000, which if you do the math, 12 months, it's definitely a possibility, which last year I just made it right over 200. And so to do a $100,000 jump is kind of crazy, but it could happen. And I'm just like, whoa, this is what happens for me anyway, when I have really intentional goals, really intentional energy, and I have things backing me up to do it. So how did this happen? Aside from like having the energy to do it and, saying that I've put in a lot of effort without putting in a whole lot of extra hours, how did this happen? First off, I want to say I hosted, 5 mural meetups in the past 5 months and 4 mural meetups just this year already, plus an anniversary trip. So me and my husband went to Turks and Caicos for our anniversary. It was like a 5-day thing. It was fun. I hosted a mural meetup in Costa Rica in January. I hosted a mural meetup in Mexico in January. And then February, we went to Turks and Caicos. March, we went to Barcelona. And then I stayed an extra week just to vacation around. So we did a mural meetup in Barcelona and then just got back right before the 100 days was over from our mural meetup in St. Croix. Total days, 40 days being gone out of the last 100. And yes, some of that income from the mural meetups, people didn't book until last minute or this year. And so that definitely helped towards the 100K in 100 days. But just physically being gone, not being able to paint and being on a lot of flights and also just vacationing around, being gone for 40 days out of the 100, I am so proud of this $84,000 number given that. And if I have a couple projects that are in the works right now. I don't have the final say. I was hoping that I would get the deposit and they would have, like, I would have a go on this next project. So I have a $20,000 project in the works right now. I should know any day if I get it. And they are supposed to pay half up front. So I was hoping that I was going to get that before this 100 days was over, because then that would have made it 94K, which is basically 100. Okay, round up. And I would have been like, yeah, I basically made it. That did not happen, but I'm hoping. But if I get this job for sure, combined with everything that I for sure have, I am pretty certain that I will make 100K in the next 100 days, mostly from painting stuff. I am not taking on any more one-to-one or small group coaching, mostly because I just don't have time for it. And that's a chunk of income. And I'm not doing any crazy big mural meetups. We have one left. So if you want to come to the Missouri Mural Meetup in June, it is the least costly one. It's not a big money maker for me. I think it's $350 for the whole thing. And so you get to stay, you get food, you get to learn how to do all the things, a spray, lift training. We go to a local museum where you can see some of the best murals in the world. It's a full experience and it's for the mural beginner. And so if you want to come to that, I'll link here. And it is the Missouri Mural Meetup. It's the last mural meetup we have of the year. And if you are a newbie specifically, and you're in your first year or two of doing this, or you've never painted a mural before, that this meetup is for you. And if you want to come, so it's only $350. I really don't profit a ton on this thing, especially when you take out expenses of everything. But I wanted to let you know. So that is going to be a small portion of my next 100K, but most of it is going to be through big painting projects. And I got those. I have one public art call. So if you know from the beginning of the year, my main sources of getting jobs was going to be networking, like going to like meetings, like the once a month meeting for these groups, like the Chamber of Commerce things, and then outreach and social media, and then applying to public art calls. I've applied to 10 or 11 public art calls and I finally got one, and I'm about to do it here in the next couple of weeks. And it's a small one, it's a local one, but it'll take me no time at all. But that is going to contribute to my next 100K. What else is going to contribute to it? Actually, you know what? Let's not talk about the next 100K. I have a ton of stuff on the books. That's all you need to know. But from doing a lot of work here in the first 100 days. So where did the work from the first 100 days come from? Because I love to ask people that question. My students, my other artists that I'm interviewing, anybody, they'll say, hey, I got this job. I'm like, how did you get it? Because that's the magic, right? It's like, how are you getting these jobs? How did so-and-so get this job painting on the side of a skyscraper? Like, where does that come in? Like, is that a public art call that I can apply to? Is that you knew her sister's brother? How did jobs like this happen? So I wrote down the majority of how I got my 100K painting jobs, and I'm going to share it with you now. 3 of the jobs I got from Google. One in particular said that he had his virtual assistant. So this company owner has a virtual assistant, and he had her Googling how to find somebody to paint things in a warehouse. And so they stumbled upon me, and he messaged me, and I asked him how he got it, and he told me. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting, because so searching something like Springfield or like Missouri muralist, Missouri lettering artist, things like that. And my Instagram pops up and they go to my website. Another one that I got just recently is she Googled me as well and went to my Instagram and then went to my website. And then another one, they specifically Googled exterior murals in Springfield or Missouri area and Googled me, landed on my website. So if that tells you, work on your SEO. Or if you aren't working on that's something like that takes time. If you don't want to do that, or you know that it's going to be several years before your SEO that you are working on right now actually goes into effect, one major trick to that is to get somebody to feature you. So say you're doing a community mural for your local town or a local business even, and it's outside and the business is opening or whatever, you can approach your local newspaper and say, hey, I'm doing this really big fun mural. People can take pictures with it, whatever. Or this new mural is going to be help brighten the town or make downtown more colorful, or spin it in that way. It's for the community. They people on the news want to cover things that's going to benefit the community or the community would find interesting. Not necessarily like you painting on canvas in your studio or you painting something very niche inside a store necessarily. They really like exterior things. So something that the public can just walk up to without buying something in a store. That's where the news comes from. So you can trick the Google SEO because your local newspaper or whatever news station or whatever publication, they have been working on their SEO for a very long time and Google likes them. And so you're going to be sharing in that. So if somebody goes to search for muralist Springfield, as long as they use those keywords in the article that they are writing about you, which they likely will, because those are the words you're going to give them and they just write down what you say and then you will pop up. I've used this before. I have several newspaper articles about my public art around Springfield that pop up when you Google Missouri Springfield muralist, something like that. You can also pop on a description of you with your art using keywords like artist, your location, muralist, lettering. I like to use exterior, interior, commercial, residential murals, fine art, if that's your thing, some kind of painting, something, pop that on your contact page, about me page, the headers of your website, things like that. And then that will start to get your own SEO and get that going. My Instagram actually pops up because I have Missouri Muralist there and I get a lot of hits on my Instagram. And so that's one of the major thing that pops up. So whatever you want, but Google is definitely a thing. So if you don't want to do that, you can also go and you can pay $1 a day, $5 a day on Google for a short amount of time. Like say you want to do the next 100 days, really hit it hard. You've set up your website with really good photos, keywords, things like that. You have a Google page with reviews. That's very important, with photos, all the things. And you're like, okay, for the next 100 days, I can't magically bump up my SEO by just putting in keywords. We know that it's going to take time. How about I'm going to pay $5 a day on Google? That way for the next 100 days, and you can set limit and say, I'm going to be working really hard here. This is the goal that I have. I don't mind putting a little bit of money behind it in order to put luck into my own hands, right? And make that happen. I did start paying since February. I'll do $1 a day on Google to see if that helps. And I think it helps. I'm not sure, but I'm still getting things from Google and I don't know, but I'm, like I said, testing out all the things and I'm finding that Google is one thing that definitely works. So if you do anything today, sit down, make your Google page, get some reviews, maybe do a try out $1 a day, see what happens. I don't think ads are something to where you start paying for ads and then it magically works this week. Sometimes it can take a month, sometimes 2 months. That's why I say the 100 days, try that. I landed a really big job that I made about $20,000 with in the last 100 days. And this one, I got this job 10 years ago. I connected with this client and they needed a muralist, and through networking, somebody recommended me. So I guess it pays to know people and be networking through Branson businesses. And so Springfield and Branson. So Branson is not that far away from Springfield. And so I'll often go there. It's about an hour drive. I'm actually going there right after I record this today to paint some stuff. And so Branson's a really big one. So sometimes I'll include Branson as well into my Google search. And I just networked a lot back in the day and got referred to this one client. And I ended up not actually doing the job in full. I had to recommend another artist because I had to go to Africa. Long story. So I worked on this job for this one client just a little bit, just as much as I could. And I hired it out to another artist. Well, now 10 years later, they messaged me to come back. And I was a little apprehensive just thinking, I was like, oh, well, I had the other artists working with me. I wonder why they didn't choose them. And like, I wonder if they did, and like, why? And so I had a conversation with them recently, and they remembered that it wasn't me that was painting for them. It was this other artist that I had recommended, but they're like, no, if you're available, we want you. And I was like, okay, great. And just talking, they were like, they had followed me on social media for 10 years now, and they watched my art grow, and they had seen my family, and they just, the whole thing, and they just really liked me. That's the sense that I got from it. And I know this because I had my husband and my son come out last night to this job, and she had said that, oh yes, I know your husband from social media. Like, oh, sorry, you've never met me before, but I feel like I know you. And he was like, oh, okay. And she had knows my son, and like through Facebook basically. But to me, this wasn't just a networking thing, because I networked back then. I originally had gotten the job, but they were calling me back because I had been consistently posting on social media for years and showing my art, reminding them that I was there, just in general, being very likable. And people resonate with that. People like that. It's just staying top of mind. And I think that's a big reason why I got the call back to work with these people, because they could have easily forgotten, and I could have went blank on social media for years, and they probably wouldn't have remembered. I don't know, maybe. But also, just like me showing up on social media and them feeling like they know me has made this experience so easy, because she trusts me. She trusts me with her vision. She trusts me to make adjustments, and it's just very seamless. I was talking to them last night, and I was like, you're so easy to work with. They're like, oh my gosh, so are you. And it's just, I think it's like a mutual respect, and it's so much easier to work with a customer who follows me on social media, knows who I am already, knows that I'm going to do a good job, and trusts me, because I have several lines in the water right now of jobs that I'm hoping to get, of people that they don't really know me other than a Google search or an outreach email to them, or I've asked them to connect on LinkedIn, or like things like that. Like, they can see my stuff and look at it, but they haven't been following me for years. They haven't seen, the family and farm life that I post too. And it's just a different thing. I just talked with somebody yesterday about painting a mural on their business, and the trust just wasn't there. And that's fine. Like, why should you trust me? I'm pitching you to do something on your business, and I'm showing you some photos that clearly show that I can do the job, but they're just a little like, okay, I don't know. Like, so this is motivation for me to just, it doesn't have to be every day. It doesn't have to be every other day, but just posting what am working on, because it helps future relationships. It helps to keep top of mind. And it's really not that much of a bother for me. I know that there are other artists that are like, oh, social media, it's so much work, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's just, they think they need to make videos or whatever, but a photo is fine. Just popping up a photo, writing something, 2 sentences about it. That's all it takes once a week. Like, it's just to bring in new business. And that's one big reason that I think I have had a really seamless transaction with this client that has a $20,000 plus customer. I've gotten a few other jobs from people who have just followed me online, and they want this logo painted, or they finally have moved and they want their accent wall painted in their home. Like, things like, I get that all the time. People are saying, I've been following you since promo days, or I've been following you since you painted glitter clouds, or things like that. And it's so cool, because then the transaction is so much easier. So I just can't say enough about showing up consistently online in the least backbreaking way that you can. If videos are too much, just post a photo. If you really don't want to be in the photos, which I highly, highly recommend, because that's people see you, they can see the size of it, everything like that. They can relate to you more. But if that is just too much, then just post a photo of your art. Snap it, post it, that's it. But just do that. That's like doing the bare minimum. And if I can do a little bit more than the bare minimum, you can do the bare minimum. There's several other things that I've been doing, like like I said, the public art calls, and I'm doing a lot of outreach that has not contributed to the first 100 days, but that is contributing to the next 100 days. And I'm really excited about it because I've been putting in a lot of work, specifically on Mondays and sometimes Tuesdays are my office days now. I've been sending out a lot of outreach emails, connecting with people on LinkedIn, interior designers, people like that. And it's finally paying off. And I have several things in the works for the next 100 days. So I will do another how did this 100 days thing go after the next 100 days. So I am entering another 100-day challenge, mostly because it's almost a sure thing that I'm going to hit it or get really close to it. Anything 84,000 and above, I think is a win for me, because for the next 100 days, I am not traveling a crap ton. I'm not going to be gone 40 out of the 100 days, more like 10 maybe. And I think it's more achievable now because I've already done the work. I've done a lot of connecting with people. I've gotten a lot of no responses, but several responses on just outreach emails and like things like that, and doing public art calls. And I'm way better at doing the public art calls now. So I kind of know, like, it's just getting all that practice has definitely paid off. So highly recommend doing all of this stuff that I just mentioned, or just picking a couple things that you like to do, practicing getting better at it. Because by the way, I had never applied to, I don't want to say never, but I have barely applied to public art calls prior to this year. And very few, almost never, sent out outreach emails. Okay. Well, I sent a bunch to schools a while ago, but like very little. And compared to right now, and where I'm getting all the practice and getting all the things. And it's really paying off. So if you're inspired listening to this and you're like, okay, I want to do 50K in 100 days, or I want to do 20K in 100, or so, like whatever is like, just like seems a little silly, like just like right out of your outreach goal. So like if you're like, okay, I can for sure make 100 or 10,000, then maybe go for like 30, something like that. So if you're like, okay, for the next 100 days, so from now until, I'm not sure when the next 100 days thing is over, April, May, June, July, sometime in August. Oh, wow. Okay, great. If you want to do something for the next 100 days, highly, highly recommend, because like I said, if I would have just done everything that I usually do, I would have made a decent amount, or it's a small amount as compared to the full year. But right now is the time for me in Missouri that things start to boom. Like, it's nice outside, things are happening, people want things done. It's not the end of the year where they're reassessing how the year went or planning for the new year. It's like people are doing things right now. This is the time to start making money. And so now is the time to look on some public art calls, apply for some, send out some outreach emails, do some networking, join a local group and go to their once a month meeting, whatever it is in your niche, where there's no other artists there and you can just easily stand out. Those things are paying off so much for me. I have a monthly meeting this Thursday that I have to go to, and I don't have to go to it, but it's a local networking group for like out an apartment association. And it's going to be a pain to go to it because I'm going to have to leave my paint job, go to this 1 hour lunch, like do the thing. But the amount of just compiled networking that I'm realizing is working, it's invaluable to my future 100 days. Usually not right now. Like the first meeting that I go to in these things is like, okay, hi, hello. Like, and then the second one is like, okay, people, you're kind of getting to know people. And then the third and fourth and fifth and sixth are where the magic happens, I'm realizing. And so the 7th, 8th, and 9th, and 10th are when the magic continues to happen. It's like getting started is the hardest part. Learning how to do an outreach email is the hardest part. And like doing your first public art call is the hardest part. But like once you get going and get that muscle working, and now I'm seeing the results. And so now I'm even more fired up and I am not stopping. So we'll see what this next 100 days do. But if you would like some help, I'm doing one more spot in the month of May for outreach coaching. So basically you're going to borrow my virtual assistant. My virtual assistant will give you 500 contacts of their LinkedIn, profile, their email, their website, their everything that you will need. And I will show you how to do outreach emails and get that going. So you will get some help during your first, like the first part is the hardest, right? It's the toughest. And that's usually where I help artists with like either like getting their website done, or they're just getting that first Mural customer, or sending out those first couple outreach emails. Like as soon as you get going, it's not that difficult, but getting going and figuring out what works for you and just getting that muscle working, that's the tough part. So if you want outreach to be part of your next 100K days goal, then I would love to invite you to come in for the month of May. This is the last time I'm doing it this year, where we meet once a week for an hour for the month of May. And I give you 500 contacts. I give you my pitch scripts. I give you my pitch deck template. I give you all the things, my brochure template, anything that requires you pitching yourself, whether it's in person, through email, on LinkedIn, all the things. I will walk you through it in a 1 month for the month of May outreach coaching group. And again, you get 500 contacts via my virtual assistant, basically the virtual assistant that gives me the contacts and helps me send out the emails and all the things. I'm going to give you a back end of exactly how I do it. That way you can get these like lines in the water. Is that a Missouri thing to say? Is that a fishing thing to say? Like putting lines in the water and figuring, I don't know. We say like hold your horses a lot. That might be a Missouri thing to say too. So I help you get it started. I help you get all the things starting to happen, because when you're doing outreach on LinkedIn and things like this, it helps your networking. And like I said, I got a job from networking 10 years ago that is paying $20,000 right now. Networking is gold. And once you get somebody that you either meet in person or online and you have a quick conversation with, they follow you for forever. And it will forever pay off. And at some point, they will buy a house or recommend you to somebody in a business. I just had somebody on Facebook that I'm not even sure who she is. Like, I think I met her at a party one time when I was in like college. I don't know. But she was like, hey, my brother works for Sam's Club and they need a muralist. Like, can I give him your contact? I was like, absolutely. Yes, here you go. Then I was like, wait, can I have his contact too? She's like, sure. I'm like, thank you, random girl that I met at a party. Like, so whether you want to go to frat parties and network, or if you want to do it via email, no judgment, but networking needs to happen. Whether at the monthly meetings or LinkedIn outreach, like if you don't have a LinkedIn yet, highly, highly recommend. I feel like I'm getting the most responses on LinkedIn, by the way. I'm doing a bunch of email outreach, a bunch of like Instagram and stuff. Like right now for me this month, LinkedIn is working really well. So if you would like to know how I do it exactly and what to say within your very few character limit and what to attach to your message via photos or pitch decks and what I put in my pitch deck and the whole thing, I am doing this. It is, what am I charging for this? It's like, oh wait, what am I charging for this? It is, I think it's like $497. Yeah, basically like $500, and you get 500 contacts. So $1 a contact, and you get all the training with me for a month. So I show you exactly how to do it, exactly how to set it up with my pitch deck and everything. So if you have big goals like I do, and I invite you to come in and share my energy once a week while I help you do outreach training. So yeah, the link is below if you would like to sign up. I only have 5 spots left. I have 1 person currently signed up. So we have 6 people total. So very few. It's the last time I'm doing it this year. I might open it up next year, like in 2026, but this is the last month I'm doing it. So if you would like to do it for the month of May, this is it, I think. And yeah, no, I'm pretty sure this is the last time I'm going to offer it, because I am so busy lately and it's just, this is all I can do. And I already have 1 person signed up, so we're doing it. So I have 5 more spots. Join me. Link is here. I hope you have a great next 100 days. I hope you're inspired by me sharing this. I'm a little hesitant to share numbers even still, because I don't want it to feel like bragging. And it's weird that people on Facebook would know how much I make. And so that's why I feel like this podcast is a little bit more of a shared safe space, because it's mostly just artists listening. right? I tell my friends, like, don't listen to my podcast. Just no. And they're like, what? We want to support you. I'm like, absolutely not. Do not listen to my podcast. It's for artists only who want to make money with a paintbrush. And so that's why I share it with you, to help motivate you and show you that even if you made X amount last year, you can double it with really, I don't want to say intense, but really intentional energy. Yeah. Okay. I will see you next week. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Artist Academy podcast. I so appreciate you tuning in every week. And I would also appreciate if you could do me a very small favor and possibly share this episode either on social media. You can tag me or even just write me a note in my DMs saying what you liked about the podcast, what you want to see more of, anything. I love getting any and every feedback, especially in the form of a review, 5 stars only. That's all we accept on Apple or Spotify. And just any kind of positive feedback whatsoever. It really makes everything worth it. Me sitting down to create this absolutely free podcast full of art and business content. And I also wanted to throw this out there that if you are not where you want to be currently in your art business, if you're stuck at a boring job that just sucks the creativity out of you and you don't have time to paint and you're wanting to go full time with some kind of way of painting or murals or something, anything other than where you're at, trust me, I know the feeling and I know how much it can affect the rest of your life. And I know what's on the other side of it. There's a lot of hard work and there's a lot of tips and tricks in the middle, but that's why I created the Artist Academy membership. It's only $37 a month and it takes artists from aspiring or beginner to full-time and up to 6 figures. I've helped more artists than I can count or think of at the moment quit their jobs and go full-time into painting, and I can help you too. It's such a crazy, confusing, tough time, especially in that first year. That's why I specialize in helping artists within that first year of business, because that's the hardest part, taking the first step, figuring out how to get those first couple clients, and then we work from there. I've helped multiple artists reach even the 6-figure mark, and I can help you too. If you're ready to make 2025 the year that you finally go full-time into the creative industry and make good money with your art, and I want to invite you into the Artist Academy membership to view my over 100 plus art and business tutorials. There's everything from how to paint large scale to how to make a marketing plan for this year. And every single month I update it with new content of what's working right now, what's working on social media, what are the things that I'm doing, specific things with templates, with email scripts, with all the things that you need. That you just go right over the headache of it all and I just give it to you and you make it your own and you grow your own unique art business the way you want to. Inside the membership, I open up my business and show you what I'm pricing per job, how the job went, what I learned from it, how I got that customer, and how I'm repeating that over and over again to build a 6-figure plus consistent art business for the last 10 years. I think I've been doing this for about 10 years and teaching for almost 6 years. Crazy. So I've heard it all. I've heard all of the excuses, all the hurdles, and I can help you through them. They say a mentor can see your future a lot more clearly than you can. That's why you hire one, because when you're going through the tough times and thinking that you can't do it, I'm here and I know you can, and I can help you get around that hurdle and reach to the next hurdle and then the next one. And then, yeah, so $37 a month, go to artistacademy.co to join. There are no minimums. Cancellation is super easy. Stay as long as you want, gather as much as you want, and grow your business as much as you want this year. Go to artistacademy.co to join the membership.